Hi everyone, thought you'd like to join me for taking some more leaves off my little bonsai and getting some packing up done. Now, I've got a pair of scissors in my hand here because I can't find my secateurs, and we're just going to take some leaves off it. Now, what I'm going to do is take to a growing point. Now, obviously I'm not going to be able to catch this because my other hand's holding my phone, but there we are. So I'm just taking the end off some of the growing points where there's fresh growth. So it's a useful prune as well. Now, as you can imagine, this does mean there's not going to be that many supplies in my store because I am not going to damage my little trees by taking too much off. And also, I do want to be able to leave some for autumn because we're going to want some autumn leaves, aren't we? There's a tiny one. We could take some of this little guy as well. See how little these leaves are. I'll show you. Give me a moment. Actually, I'll cut to the big tree so you can see what size they should be. Here we are. This one had a serious prune a little while ago, so it's all gone a bit crazy at the moment. But that's how big the leaves should be. Something's been nibbling at these as well. I don't know what. Could be mason bees making nests, not sure. But anyway, that actually is, if I let it go, it'd probably be up to about 8 or 10 feet by now. It's actually the twin of the bonsais. Anyway, there you go. Thought you'd like to see that. And I'll be back at my dining table where I'll be packing some leaves up ready to go. Hi everyone, and welcome to possibly the most distracting background you've ever seen. Today we're going to be packing up some of my bonsai leaves. Everybody's gone crazy for these, so I am going to get them in my store. Now, my poor little trees will only produce so many at a time, and so they are going to be in very limited supply. I'm going to be limiting it to 1 packet per person initially, and then if I've still got some left once everybody's got 1 packet, then I'll look at some repeat orders. But obviously, you know, my poor little trees can only do so much, and I do want to make sure I've got plenty of leaves on there till autumn. I wasn't really anticipating the demand that I've had. Of course, they will be back in store next spring once we've got leaves on the trees again. But for now, I'm going to have to try to kind of control it a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I've made up some little packets. Here they are, to put them in. And this says, "From my garden to you." So let's get on and pack some up. I thought you'd like to see. The other thing I've been making, of course, while I'm thinking about it, is the frog moulds. The little frogs are now, don't make this guy, they're now in store. There's shiny ones and there are matte ones. Again, they take me a while to make, so you have to bear with me, and I'm no professional mould maker, but these are the exact same moulds as I'm using for my own little frogs. So those are in store now. It's miniscenes.co.uk, and I'll put you the link in the description, and of course I'll pop the QR code on the screen for those of you watching on the TV. Right, let's get on with it. Right then, here's my little flower press. Flower presses can be really expensive, and I did see all sorts of fabulous ones on Amazon and eBay and the like, and I thought, yeah, but they all do the same thing. Now, I could have waited for Mark to make me one. However, he's a busy guy, and I thought I could make one myself. And then I found this, which was really cheap, and so I thought, why bother making one? Anyway, there it is. I'll decorate it at some point. But it's just basically 2 bits of wood stuck together with some wing nuts and bolts. Now, the leaves that are in here have been in for, it's probably a couple of months actually. It's a bit longer than I intended, but obviously it presses and it dries. I'll show you what's inside a flower press in case you've not come across one before. You can get ones that press flowers and leaves and things in a microwave. They are actually surprisingly good. The only thing I found is it does, with some things, it took the colour out of them more than just being patient and doing this. It also made the kitchen stink. Really, it did. So there we go. So we've taken the little wing nuts off, got them safe. Got my cup of tea, quick slurp. So let's see what we've got inside here. So the first thing you have is some cardboard sheets. You see the corners are cut off to allow for the nuts and bolts things. There's the bolts, aren't they? And that's to give it some cushioning. You can actually press flowers in between the pages of books and then put something heavy on them if you've got small books. But this is blotting paper, and it's very traditionally used for pressing flowers. There's a few spare sheets that are in the top here. Now this little kit did actually, I'll put you the link for it if I can find it actually, because it was a bit of a bargain. It came with, as you can see, a stack of spare blotting paper as well, and all the cardboard pieces. We'll get down to the layer that's actually got something in it now. Here we go. So there should be some of the last of my flowers. Here we go. Getting down to it now. Yeah, the last of my flowers and a load of the little leaves. Now the blotting paper is there to dry. This is a very old technique actually. I think it goes back Victorian times, maybe before. But as you can see, they do keep quite a bit of their colour. Here are, yeah, that tree. There's the corresponding tree. That was cut half an hour ago. And look, so they've kept quite a nice colour. So I'm going to just lift them all off and put them over here. I've left them on their little stalks because some people might want them on the stalks for doing bigger projects. I don't know, you might. And now here we've got the little cream flowers that were from assorted weeds in my garden. Now some of these have actually stuck to the paper. Now of course you can dye these if you want, just a little dot of alcohol ink or dye them. I report that they've dried out really well. They're quite delicate, as you can see. Now when I get going with these again next year, these will be pretty much just only limited by how fast I can get them to dry. They won't be like the trees, the leaves being so limited, because seriously, these are from weeds that grow not just in my garden, but all over the area I live in. The grass verges are full of them. Now I like to leave plenty for the bees, but trust me, there are literally millions. I'm not exaggerating there. Right, I'm going to leave those on that sheet. See what else we've got. Another load of those. Again, I'm going to leave them on the sheet because they're a bit delicate, and I think that's it. So as you can see, there weren't many leaves in there. Anyway, we're going to put some back in, and because I've got plenty, as you can see, of spare blotting paper, I'm going to put 2 sheets underneath and 2 on top. Now, this one doesn't look as if it's going to lend itself to being left as a sheet, so we're just going to take the little leaves off like that. And we'll lay them all up the same way. So I know which is which. But yeah, the ones that are in great big fronds, like the last batch I just got out, it's a bit past the season for getting those, because it hasn't really had time to shoot again. And of course I've used quite a lot of these myself in various projects, so I have still got a few upstairs, but not many. If you wanted the bigger maple leaves, by the way, let me know. I think they look a bit like marijuana leaves if you're not concentrating. So 2 sheets of the paper on the top, just because I've got plenty of spare. 1 would do actually, but blotting paper just dries it out. Then a piece of card on top of that, and then I'm just going to chuck everything else back in on top. That's why there was so much on there before. It's just a good way of keeping it all together, ready for next time I get some flowers or leaves to put in. So I'm just going to drop that back on. Put this back on. People have asked me how hard to screw these down. The way I do it, and this is a trick I learned from putting wheels on cars. If you want it to screw down nice and evenly, go corner ways. I'll show you what I mean when I've got these on. I'm just putting them on lightly now. But then you get a nice even squash rather than squashing them at one end or one corner completely. You get a nice even press. So I'm just putting these on partially. These are just little wing nuts. Now, I know people are going to be asking me postage to America. These are quite delicate, so although I don't fancy trying to send them as letter post, it will be large letters, so I can put them in a little thin box with some protective wrap either side of them. And so it should be around $5 to post them over, something like that. But I could get a lot in one of those boxes, so if you wanted to order at the same time as you order like little fish or anything else from my store, then I might be able to do some sort of creative refunding of postage to make it you know, cost effective for you. So when I said about doing it corner wise, do the opposite corners at the same time rather than the two sides like that, or two ends, and that will give you a much more even press. And you just do it until you get a decent bit of resistance. You don't want it to be squashing it until it gets really quite hard to press, to do. And just keep going backwards and forwards from nut to nut. So I'm doing these two corners now, and then I'll go back and give these another little turn, and these another little turn. There you go. And it's until you get a decent bit of resistance. I'm not doing them up really, really tight. Okay, let's get some packs done. What I've done is I've printed out some little cards and cut them. They're big versions of my jewellery cards, and I've done that on my Cricut. I've got a Cricut maker I treated myself to. So I put those in the little cellophane packets that you'd put cards in if you do card making. And my plan, because I want to share these out, would be to put about that much in each packet. That doesn't look very much, I know, but it's the best I can do at the moment. Bear in mind my poor little tree. So I'm going to pop those in, and what I'm going to do is pop in some of the white flowers too. I'm going to try and do this without breaking them. All packed up and ready to go. There will only be 4 packets in my store initially, and I've got enough for another 1 packet of the summer colours. There will be some, of course, for autumn too, and then I'll try to get an awful lot more together for you for next year. So, look forward to seeing you for some videos. Thanks for your support, everyone. Bye!